Hello, Simone. Today we are going to be doing something of a follow-up to an episode that we did recently that we called The Last Show on Earth, on how sort of Hollywood and the Zeitgeist movie or the Zeitgeist television show was no longer a thing.
Yeah.
And the thing that sort of connected the world was US political theater and the conversation around that. The Trump White House, the Trump, the Elon thing, the everything like that, right? Today, we're going to be focused on the other side of this, which is the collapse of celebrity culture. And how little relevance, and I think you'll be shocked by some of the stats that we're going to go into, celebrities have on our society anymore.
Really?
Yeah, well, there's been some recent, just absolute caning of Emma Watson. I don't know if you saw this by J.K. Rowling, where Emma Watson is basically like, hey, I'm besties with J.K. Rowling. I'll always be friends with her. And it's like, we remember everything you were saying about her, you psychopath. Like, J.K. Rowling remembers when you thought it was cool to defend this whole trans thing and the gender transition of minors and forcing women in spaces where they are not safe to have trans women inserted into them, whether it's prisons or anywhere else. And J.K. Rowling was like, hey, can we have like a reasonable conversation about this? Which really, she got defenestrated before she began to go more and more right. It's very similar to Elon. People like ask, like, why is J.K. Rowling anti this? It's like not for religious reasons. It's not for discomfort of like a variety of sexual orientations. Like clearly she's got some
Dumbledore's gay. Yes. I mean, come on.
Yeah, she made everyone gay. That was like the thing about her that they said, where she'd like post hoc make a bunch of Harry Potter characters.
Oh yeah. Her retroactive gayification. And Dumbledore, I could see yeah, that was
is Emma Watson is now like, oh, I don't care that much about those Jews anymore. Now that it's like everyone can say that publicly now that like publicly we've accepted, oh, it doesn't kill someone to block transition, which we know now because the UK banned child transition and the unaliving rate in that population hasn't increased statistically. So like we have an entire country where we have a very big sample and a very big study that was done on this, and it did have the effect. I can only imagine the existential horror of being a trans kid in the UK right now with people trying to get those unaliving numbers up to actually prove that not transitioning minors has any potential negative effects to them.
All you gotta do is just read the words on the teleprompter here.
Okay.
Let's see how the
transphobes
deal with this.
You know, some people say there's no proof that
not transitioning children
kills. I guess I'm the proof. By the time you see this commercial, I'll be dead. Dead?
That was fantastic.
What does that mean, I'll be dead?
That was very good, Eric. Here, eat this cupcake. It has sprinkles.
Do you know what a hero is? A hero is somebody who sacrifices himself for the good of others. You can be a hero, Eric.
Jesus Christ!
But to not talk on that, I also want to use Taylor Swift's decline recently in sort of the public eye as sort of a framing device for this, because I think in many ways Taylor Swift was the last celebrity, the last true pop star that had a giant fan base that cared what they thought, the drama in their lives, their politics. And if you're young and you're watching this, you don't like get the way it used to be. Okay. When I was growing up, you would see people, celebrities, like actors, whose only qualification is that people knew them as actors, go on major news stations like CNN or MSNBC and give their thoughts on like wars or like political developments. If you watch Team America World Police, the Matt Stone, Trey Parker, very good puppet thing. If you haven't seen it, I think it's hilarious. And it's gotten a lot better with age as well. It's like they really predicted a sort of zeitgeist. And it's funny that when it came out, it was considered an anti-Republican movie because it was seen as criticizing American foreign policing, which was like a Republican issue. And now it would be seen as a pro-Republican issue movie because it's criticizing America policing the rest of the world with our troops. It's so interesting that switched and it went from an anti to a pro-Republican movie.
There's the Film Actors Guild, aka FAG.
Yes. The point I was making here is the cultural power of celebrities was huge. When you walk through checkout lines in stores, any store, any grocery store growing up, I don't know if you have vivid memories of this. You would have these just like racks of magazines, and the magazines would all be covering what was going on personally in celebrities' lives.
Oh yeah, 100%. Of course.
You might remember, go through today.
No.
Yeah, that's our baby that she's showing.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm constantly watching him on his NICU cam. Sorry.
Anyway, the point here,
the celebrity gossip mags. I mean, they still exist, Malcolm.
They are, but they are much rarer.
Yeah.
They are not like this dominant, in your face, screaming at you feature in every checkout.
And they've lost a lot of readership and a lot of viewership too. I mean, there were also some really big online outlets that were prolific on this front. Perez Hilton, Stella Bitchy I loved for a while. But like now I go on them and I'm like, there's nothing here. There's nothing going on.
There's nothing going on, yeah. So this entire industry essentially fell apart. And another really fun instance of this recently was the spaceship op-ed.
Oh, you mean when Katy Perry and Mrs. Jeff Bezos went into space?
Like a bunch of other women were like, we're going to be the first all women in space.
Everything is love. I feel so happy. Love.
Yeah. It was so
What an accomplishment for women.
For women, I did it for you, young girls, so you could see that one day you could F a rich guy and go into space. Obviously not with like your brains or talent or effort, but what an accomplishment. Very, what is it, like deep sea, the submarine thing, like the billionaire submarine. But the whole, I think that the reason why they went up there and they did this is celebrity culture in the 90s was like, you would actually do stuff like this and everyone would be forced to cheer for you. Like, because, and if people don't understand what led to this, I want to talk about like what led to this before I get into the statistics of what caused it all to break apart. Okay. So, and I think that this is a good instance. Suppose a bunch of pop stars in the 90s decided to be the first all-female space thing. Okay. How do you, the public, get your news? Right? Like what outlets do you have access to? So you go to early aughts, 90s, you are getting it from TV, like CNN. You're getting it from like The Daily Show. You are getting it from, celebrity gossip rags, right? The problem is that none of those outlets could really criticize because I am a CNN, right? Well, my parent company owns their label company. Right? Like my parent company owns, for the movie stars, this is especially an issue because they're often owned by the same companies, right? Like this is why it was so hard to criticize Scientology for a long time, because the actors who were Scientologists would say, well, I won't promote my movie if The Daily Show or South Park is criticizing Scientology on another network, right? Like, and so you basically could not publicly criticize these people. And when you could publicly criticize them, it couldn't be for something that everyone knew, like they're self-aggrandizing and went on a ship. It had to be some sort of gossipy thing. So the information just didn't go out there, right?
Yeah.
But today, we, the general public, can have our visceral reaction to people wasting a lot of money on something seeking personal validation. And we can just be like, that's ridiculous. An investigation I want to get into. Actually, I want your thoughts on this first before I go further into all of this. What are your thoughts on why celebrities were ever given a mouthpiece?
We literally didn't have anything else to talk about. I mean, that is like if we were vapid. And now there are so many more outlets for if you want vapid content that are so much better. For example, the YA and romance novel world has exploded. Our options are huge. In terms of YouTube and TikTok, now there are so many micro celebrities that you can really get deep into the life and get tons of gossip and dirt on people in a much more intimate way. And an issue with original celebrity gossip was you never got enough. The front page would make so many promises, and then it was just a bunch of conjecture from third parties speaking on background that you knew, one, like the vast majority of it was manufactured, and it also wasn't even substantive what you got. And now you can get the real deal on social media, and they're letting you into their lives. They're giving you full behind the scenes access that there's just no way that actual like or legacy celebrities can compete. So that whole industry has gone bust. Basically,
Yeah.
new much better options are out there.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, there were other people who could talk on this stuff. I actually think the main reason why celebrities were in our face so much was simply because the news stations were owned by the same people who owned the record labels and the movie production
Well,
studios.
that was even more the case when there were those movie studios that literally like ran every element of celebrities' lives. You know, they did all their styling, they chose what they wore.
That's why I don't care to hear an actor talk on like the Daily Show right back in the day. I remember I was so disappointed whenever it was an actor because I was like, they didn't.
Oh, because
write
they had
the
such
script.
bad takes. They were so boring. They were so
Yeah,
basic.
They didn't write that. Literally, their intellect has nothing to do with their production of content. So why is anything that their intellect produces going to be interesting to me, the viewer?
Yeah, it was very much like Zoolander captured that so well, where it's just like you just do what they tell you to, and you know they could tell like Zoolander dancing like a monkey.
You're a monkey, Garrick! You're a monkey! Dance, monkey! In your little spangly shoes! Smash your cymbals, Simpy! Dance, Garrick, dance!
I mean, that is what they didn't have interesting things to say. They were good at being attractive and playing roles, and that's kind of most of it. And
Well,
they were
I
lucky.
actually very interesting point there. They were good at being attractive and playing roles, and that's why celebrity culture went so woke. That is why Emma Watson was so woke, because her job was playing a role. So she looked at society and said, "What's popular? What's current thing? I am going to."
Society says dance, little monkey, and I will dance like a little monkey. And society was the left, and it told you exactly how to dance, and she did it. Oh, that's very interesting.
She's going to the UN, telling the UN what the UN wants to hear.
Yeah, wow.
I think Greta Thunberg was also a product of this kind of celebrity.
How dare you, how double dare you? Pointless terror groups don't make me frown. Only the West must be torn down. Cheer the rockets, praise the fight. Freedom's wrong, but hate feels right.
Well, and she was a product. Her mother was like an opera singer, and her father was like they were. It was a family of performers / like entertainment people. So that also makes sense. Yeah.
So to give you an idea of how much this has gone down, peak interactions were 5 to 10 times higher on Greta and Emma Watson's 2019 post versus today's post.
Oh wow! So there's even been very recently a steep decline.
Yeah. So Greta Thunberg's 2019 X followers surged from 100K to 4 million. Now at 5.8 million, they plateaued. Emma's following 28 million, stable but inactive. Her last major activism push was in 2018. We're going to get into the exact numbers of interactions. Actually, I can just jump to the interactions here because I thought they were really interesting.
Okay.
So Emma Watson, 2016 he for she era, average likes on a top 10 post was 27,000. And then 2024, more recently, the average likes, she only had one post in the top 10 that was more recent, was 5,900. So 27,000 to 5,900 is what happened to Emma Watson. Average reposts went from 11,000 to 1,000. If you look at Greta Thunberg pre-2020, it was around 165,000 average likes. And if you look more recently, 2024, it was 15,000 average likes. So 165,000 to 15,000 average likes. And then average reposts, it went from 18,000 to 4,000. So that's just absolutely catastrophic. Now, also keep in mind that this is in part because X doesn't have their stands as much anymore. You know, they've moved to the smaller platforms like Blue Sky. So it's harder for them to gain traction by like do current thing, right?
Yeah.
Never really having their own opinion on stuff. And I think that the act like you have a role really worked for, it's what sort of led Harry and Meghan to their giant like bumble, which has sort of destroyed their public perception. And I think that they were just like, what is popular among like urban elite circles? I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do only that and all of that. And then then they'll love me. And being a victim was a part of that. I mean, I think that being a victim was genuinely, as South Park showed, because they associated that with status, right?
Oh yeah, is this you? Sorority girl, actress, influencer, victim.
Yeah, that's totally me.
Okay, I see. And then you added your husband to your friends and family account. You must be the royal prince, millionaire, world traveler, victim.
That's right.
You know, and
Yeah.
so they played that role. And I'll put the scene here.
We want privacy. We want privacy. It has been several months now since our beloved queen has died. All Canadians are finding it hard to go on. All Canadians, that is, except for our first guest, the prince and his wife. We want privacy. We want privacy. All right, thanks for having us on the show. It's so awesome to be here. It's great. So let me start with you, sir. You've lived a life with the royal family. You've had everything handed to you, but you say your life has been hard, and now you've written all about it in your new book, Where?
Yeah.
The final thing I want to say before I dig into like actual data quotes here is the age of stars can never come back. The age of the celebrity can never come back because of AI. We are already seeing a company had their AI actress hired by multiple studios already. So we're already seeing the ability to do that. It doesn't really make sense to invest in these sorts of stars. And you can see this. There just haven't been that many new celebrities outside of like genuine interest through social media and stuff like that generated anytime recently.
I mean, so I will say there is still celebrity gossip. There is still celebrity culture, and there are a few young celebrities that do get a decent amount of attention. What they wear, the way that they break up marriages or cheat or do things like that gets decent coverage, and especially the way that they flame out. While Harry and Meghan messed up by banking on the fact that merely being celebrities would be enough and they'd be able to sell anything just because they were celebrities, there are still economies and entire careers built on just hate commentary on them. So it still kind of exists, except now it exists more from a place of disrespect and not aspiration.
Yes, hatred. That's actually a very good point. Celebrities used to be something we aspired to be and that people wanted to be. Whereas now we pay attention to celebrities purely out of hatred. And you're right. You actually watch multiple YouTubers who are just hate YouTubers on Harry and Meghan.
Yeah, multiple careers here. I do think that Taylor Swift, though, is one of those few last, perhaps now waning stars who did really capture.
Album was her biggest debut in terms of like actual sales,
commercial success, the Showgirl album.
But there's been a lot of pushback in it. We'll get to an article that came out at the Atlantic called "Taylor Swift's Fairy Tale is Over." The subtitle: "The singer has everything she wanted. Her new album suggests that it's all sort of a drag." If we go into quotes on this, Slate on October 3rd said, quote, "A masterpiece of cringe. This year's The Life of a Showgirl marks the first time I might say distance helps about a Taylor Swift album. It's not that Swift at 35 has by any means aged out. If anything, she's still acting too young," end quote. And they also make fun of the song Wishlist for being a laughable humble brag. The New York Times, October 6th, said, quote, "A deceptively modest set of songs about the facade of fame. Swift is hungry to move on from the battles of her past, but not until she attends to some unfinished business." A Hollywood Reporter rundown said, quote, "Every song had the potential to be a smash versus nowhere as good as it should have been." And John, this is a guy on TikTok, said, "I just watched a TikTok where the creator calls The Life of a Showgirl everything that people have ever complained about Taylor Swift defined in an album. She's managed to sum up every criticism about everything that has ever gone into her music and just do that exactly." Now, if you're like, how bad can this be, right? Because this is one of those things where it's like, people are like, well, what if an AI wrote it? I'm like, an AI would not write this badly. Like, she should.
It's true, an AI would do it better. She should have used AI. Yes.
Here's a quote from one of them. "Forgive me, it sounds cocky. He ahmatized me and opened my eyes. Redwood tree, it ain't hard to see. His love was the key that opened my thighs."
That's so bad. So bad.
And another song, "It's not his end that makes Kaylee's pants so tight." Another song, His Magic Wand, Forgive Me, It Sounds Cocky. Another one that people thought was hilarious and sad was Others Wanted Designer Clothes, Awards, Bright Lights, and that video taken off the internet. But I want a best friend who I think is hot, a couple kids, and a driveway with a basketball hoop. And what Slate said to that, as if Taylor Swift has not wanted all the fame. Come on. You literally like worked for this, right? Like this was your job.
Well, and she's also, I mean, like when she did her Eras tour, people were just so impressed by the amount of physical exertion that she put into her performances as well. Like she got a lot of respect for it. She has worked hard for her fame.
Yeah, and I think that's why she lasted for so long.
Yeah, because she earned it. She worked hard for it. And when people like Katy Perry started to falter, and you could see like her dance moves on her most recent tour, and who knows what physical issues she might be dealing with. But like,
there was the one where she like was not moving at all. She was
it just looked, it was so bad versus like Taylor Swift, like just killing herself to do all this. I think the issue though, and I've watched a bunch of commentary on this by this point, is that she for a while was emblematic of the childless cat lady, and that really meant a lot to her single female followers.
When Vance made that quip, Taylor Swift's response to that was taken as a definitive response. But continue.
Yeah, that it was a really big deal, and she has now functionally turned on them by choosing to get married, and also by even putting this now in her song lyrics, like, you know, you saved me. Like Ophelia kind of has the song Ophelia in the Showgirl album kind of has this theme of like, you know, you saved me from singlehood essentially. And people now find that very insulting because they like she has invalidated what she used to validate for them.
Yeah, they showed that the most famous, the most wealthy, the most sexy woman in the world doesn't need no man. And now she's like, but
now she needs a man, and everything else is falling apart because also she is white, she is wealthy, and she has a largely white, like middle class basic bitch fan base, and we don't respect those people. And she married like she is going to marry like the Chad football player, you know,
yeah,
Brad, basically. Like, yeah, like it's just the one thing she had going for her that made her acceptable to the left, to progressive, and keep in mind, when we look at political divides of young women, they are overwhelmingly going more and more left, was the fact that she was a childless cat lady. And now that she's lost that, and all you have left is a billionaire who believes in marriage and children and married a football player, this is not going to work anymore. And so I think that, yeah, I guess her succumbing to wanting to live a complete life has maybe.
Well, and I think I mean, I would not be surprised if Taylor Swift does end up just moving right in her politics. I think it's important to remember for people who are aware of Taylor Swift today. I actually used to be a Taylor Swift fan back when she was a country musician.
Oh, really?
Because she started as a country musician, and I'm quite a fan of a lot of sort of pop country music.
Yeah, that's great.
With pop country, you know, whatever.
Well, I actually like the song Ophelia because I just watched the music video of it, and it has a big Busby Berkeley reference in it, and I love Busby Berkeley. So like,
I don't know who Busby Berkeley is.
He is the man who had this, like, there was this period in like the 1950s, early 60s that had these huge, elaborate, coordinated dance scenes, often involving water, where women kind of acted like robots in Clockwork, and I fucking loved it. That's my fetish. It's so, you know, she's now golden in my book. But
I think you capture something about her and her fame, and this is something that, because we did end up watching K-pop Demon Hunters, and it had something that I liked as a trope was in K-pop Demon Hunters, was that I always am a little confused by the versions of hell where it's like, and this is like weirdly popular in shows, where like you get a higher rank in hell if you were more evil on earth, and your rank in hell determines how good your life is in hell. And so
I never thought about that, but yeah, I mean, like if that's the way things work, you need to like really lean in to your evilness, or like
as evil
you'll be a
as
piece
possible.
of hell. You don't want that.
Because that gives you either in like, for example, in Hell of a Boss, it gives you additional like superpowers in hell, right?
Yeah,
like,
you don't want to be middle management. You want to be like an executive. So
or in other ones, it's like, oh, you know, like Hitler is like a it's taken one of his generals or something. It's like, wait, he gets like a position of power because he
Yeah,
was
wait a
extra evil?
second.
Like, what? Hold on a second, And in
No,
K-pop,
truly, like the best hell would be like sanctimonious Karens who are technically very good ruling over them. That is the perfect punishment.
that's where the ladies who are the church ladies who are
Mhm.
gossips.
Yeah.
The ones who end up ruling over hell.
Yeah.
No, but the point here being is they pointed out the thing that like being a demon, being on that side is just always being empty and in pain.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks.
It
Yeah.
sucks. But I think that part of what we're seeing, and this is what this Atlantic article is talking about, and what we're seeing in some of these songs, is that Taylor Swift, and we see this on the other side, like we view ourselves as fighting this sort of amorphous urban monocultural sort of collection of demonic beings, I guess you could call them, hypothetically being. And when you pledge yourself to this side, this constant search for pleasure and self-validation, no matter how high ranking you are, no matter if you're the general, no matter if you're the Taylor Swift, your life is a living nightmare, right?
Yeah.
And I think BoJack Horseman does a great job of capturing
Yes,
this,
it's so well done.
that
Yeah.
it is, and I mean, one,
Well, you know what? I also think that you haven't watched it, but Succession does a great job at that too, in depicting the empty misery of extreme wealth of nepo babies. So it's actually been done a decent amount in contemporary media.
But I'm not saying even just extreme. So I grew up around extreme wealth, and my mom was always very disappointed that she never saw me chasing it myself.
Understatement.
Yeah, understatement. But she was always like, why don't you just get super wealthy? Why don't you give up X, Y, and Z to work at McKinsey? You could get a job there tomorrow. And I was like, because I don't want to. I
want my life to have meaning. Not that anyone. I mean, there are many ways to.
Yeah, there's
make
many
an
ways
impact.
that you can do that. But I just wanted to work on everything I did, try to change the world. And she could never understand. And I remember being like, Mom, you took me to all those parties. You introduced me to all those people. Not one of them was happy. Not one
And
of
even
them.
the most luxurious trips that your family took us on, like
we're not that fun.
2 days in, we were deeply uncomfortable. We're like, we need
I
to
would
go back
rather
to
be at
work.
home playing video games and chat AI and reading Korean romance mangas.
Can I just have like mac and cheese and some bread? Like, please, no more of this
right?
gourmet food.
But the point here is that it's not just them. It's that was one degree of unhappiness, which was just sort of hollowness that I saw in those populations. There's the other degree of unhappiness, which is the unhappiness of totally giving yourself to the urban monoculture, which seems astronomically worse. And we've talked about this from the perspective of the celebrity drug addict burnout, right? Like it is so sort of a poetic justice that even the individuals who rise to the top, even the generals of the urban monocultural cause, of eventual mass global cultural genocide, so that only they remain, that they are the most tortured. The average, like lefty mom or whatever is generally going to be living a decent life, right? But it is the ones, and Taylor Swift, I think, shows this through this album and everything like that, is she believed that the reason why she felt unfulfilled in life, despite having everything that she thought that she wanted, and the great quote here from Jim Carrey that I always love on this is, I wish I could give you all the fame I had, something like, I wish I could give you all the money I have, so then that you would understand that it doesn't actually solve your problems.
Well, and I'm going to fully admit, having enough money to like not worry about buying food and paying your rent. Like,
I agree.
Food and housing security, like money's everything. But like there are diminishing marginal returns past a certain point. Like once you have food and housing security,
the
more
point
money
here being is that she thought, well, I've got this one piece left that I need, which is marriage to the perfect guy. She meets the guy who fits all of her stereotypes of what a perfect guy is. Post-pregnancy pain from the uterus shrinking. You look like you are in so much pain right now.
Okay, it's passing. Carry on.
I'm so sorry, Simone. You go
I'm
to
more
bed.
sorry for Dex, but he's doing okay. Look, and he's still fine. He's still alive.
Yeah,
Still
but
alive.
anyway, so the point I was making was that she thinks I get married, it's gonna feel good. I'm gonna feel that thing that I've always been chasing,
Yeah.
and she gets this engagement, and she doesn't feel that. And that's when I think everything sort of tumbled for her.
Interesting.
Was for the longest.
What is indicating to people that she doesn't feel that though?
Well, we'll get into that. I mean, some of the songs are also like, why are you doing a song about this? Like, she wrote a song called Ruin the Friendship that mourns a high school crush and what could have been
Yeah.
when she's just like engaged, right? In the title track, featuring Sabrina Carpenter, uses the Kitty persona to lament showbiz's grind with lines that feel like Katy Perry's cry for relief. They're like, they ripped me off like false lashes and they threw me away. Hey, thank you for the lovely bouquet. You're sweeter than a peach, but you don't know the life of a showgirl, babe. Showgirl feels like Taylor's crying for help. All this Keel love, but she's stuck reliving high school and scooter fights. Sad.
By the way, I understand that there's a song in which she refers to a really happy moment in high school where she played on a trampoline, but then she broke her arm. And this is why we don't get a trampoline, okay? Just saying. All right.
You are amazing, Simone. Well, I mean, I can read the Atlantic article, a bit of it. Taylor Swift's fairy tale is over. She just doesn't sound like she's having fun. She has the team captain, the cushion cut diamond, the fans who will show out for yet another branded cardigan. But Taylor Swift's life of a showgirl and the life it seems to portray is a charmless chore. Swiftspin's 12th album, pondering familial blunders, rivalries, regrets, the countdown clock of her own mortality. What's new narratively is her football player fiance and the happy ever after he represents, but she can't quite convince herself or the listener that she's getting what she always said she wanted. She's become too cynical to sell a fairy tale.
I don't know. I mean, I could see her trying to articulate the disenfranchisement and disillusionment that so many people feel now. I don't know though. I mean, like it's hard to communicate these things. People are going to read in a ton of stuff. I mean, what you and I know and what family members have told you who've been very famous is that the stuff you get accused of is annoyingly not true.
Yeah,
like the evil stuff about you that you worry about going out doesn't come out, and then like the evil stuff people say about you just isn't true, and that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah. So I'll articulate what you're saying a bit better about fame. Is what was said to me by one of my famous relatives is they said that the reasons that he goes, when you become famous, a lot of people will hate you and a lot of people will love you. And what makes it is so, sort of unfulfilling is that the things that people love about you aren't true. And the things that people hate about you aren't true. They hate and love somebody who doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And
I think Swift is going through that. I mean, so like, we can talk our way around her. The bigger narrative, of course, is that like in the end, they're losing their grip on the narrative
culture.
anyway.
But I actually disagree with what this family member told me. So I'm gonna push back. We now know a lot of people who are famous in like this generation, right?
Yeah.
And I've pointed this out on other podcasts, but I've noticed that the relationship people have with fame and the relationship they have with their fans actually comes down to that original quote, which is the ones that are hated and loved for things that are true about them typically are very happy with being famous and quite like the public perception of them. The people who are hated and loved for things that are not true about them are the ones that really seem to be drowning under their fame.
Okay, touche. Yeah, because we know people who are really, really, really famous who don't like their fame, and they are also massively misunderstood. And I think that in the amount of renown that we have, it's actually fairly accurate, and we freaking love it.
Yeah, like the progressive stuff will like make up stuff about us and they'll lie about us in the pieces, but they're usually not like they're like directional lies or something like that. Like they
The
want
biggest
to
one is probably that we're like billionaires, which I love.
fine, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Billionaires
sure.
and happiness bucks.
Yeah, so true. Never
But
felt so wealthy as when our kids are all piled on us. Oh my
right,
gosh.
yeah, but I think the general like sane person who has taken a bit of time to like research or try to understand us,
They
they have
get
a
us.
very real understanding of who we are.
100%. Yeah, yeah.
And so when they say Malcolm and Simone, I love your guys' work, I love what you do, I love who you are, I want the best for your family,
It
that's
feels
not
great.
a reminder for me that I'm pretending to be something I'm not and
Yeah.
causing emotional dissonance.
Yeah.
That is a reminder of like, oh, they actually like me, right?
Yeah, or like some reminder that we have to live up to an untrue standard, which I think a lot of other people really feel of like, oh, it's not actually true that like, or I'm this healthy, like Liver King, right? Like he wasn't actually what he said he was. And that must have been extremely stressful for him.
Yeah.
And then other people, it's just like, oh, you think I'm this, I'm politically aligned in this way and I'm really not. Like that's not actually what I believe. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
that's a really good
like
point.
for example, you never hear like I've never heard Joe Rogan complain about being famous.
Yeah, no, yeah,
because
because he's so based, he's so unapologetically him. It's
Yeah, I've
not
never heard
stressful.
Matt Stone and Trey Parker complain about being famous. I've never
Yeah.
heard any of the people I know who come off to me as authentic that I can talk about because I don't actually know them. You know, but I can't talk about like my actual friend group, obviously, right? But like, yeah, yeah. So we're talking about how much has sort of the celebrity culture died. So
Mhm.
let's look at a few of the like things that like people know about from celebrity culture. Oscars viewership in 1998.
Oh.
And keep in mind that the population was smaller back then. You didn't have cell phones, you didn't have YouTube, so it was harder to access viewership of stuff. It had 57 million watchers and only 18.7 million in 2023. If you look at
Gosh.
the Grammys in 2010s, on average, was around 26 million viewers. 2024, it was only 16.9 million. If you look at print magazine sales, 1.2 million circa the early 2010s. In 2024, only around 800,000 are left. If you look at when search trends for celebrity gossip peaked, it was between 2010 and 2015. And there's been a
It's gone.
55% drop in some stars like Kim Kardashian. Which I thought AI's take on this is actually pretty interesting. They
Yeah.
said 2024 was a bloodbath for A-listers, eroding the untouchable aura. Sean Diddy Combs faced federal raids and lawsuits over alleged abuse/trafficking, tanking his empire and sparking #free Diddy memes that mocked rather than mourned. Blake Lively's "It Ends With Us" promo turned into a PR disaster amid labor disputes and tone-deaf feminism accusations.
Yeah, that's the big thing is we just want to watch the fire burn. Like that is
Yeah.
that if you're trending as a celebrity, more often than not, it's because of people taking pleasure in some scandal that you're undergoing.
Chrissy Teiger's 2020 apology tour or James Conan's 2022 exit show, how social media amplifies flaws, making celebrities, quote, just like us, but worse. And we have, in the meantime, seen the digital celebrity eclipse it, right? Like the even like the Brat Summer thing, which you could think of as like a traditional corporate thing, that wasn't done with a traditional promotional campaign or anything like that. That just went viral, right? Like
It's very homegrown. Yeah.
that is how you reach people. If we're going to go over, I can talk about like stars that have crashed out, like Lindsay Lohan and Ellen DeGeneres. Ellen DeGeneres was so fun to watch crash out. I almost want to do like a whole thing on just how she ruined her life. Because
Well, isn't Rosie O'Donnell now like she has Trump derangement syndrome? Didn't she leave the US or something? Like, yeah, there's just a lot of they used to be so politically influential and powerful because we didn't really have access to other sources of shared trusted people who we could have kind of parasocial relationships with. And because that became balkanized and decentralized, they lost their influence but didn't realize it. They thought that they would always have it.
And it's so funny with you, I could go into her room in the morning or like on our morning walks and we're like, well, Asmongold said this today. And she's like, oh yes, I watched that Asmongold video. And, he almost this crazy like falling apart guy was like 3 teeth, living in deplorable conditions, has more influence than pretty much, I think, culturally speaking, any mainstream celebrity right now.
He could fix the rest of his mouth. He said in one episode that he fixed one side because it was what was seen on camera. He's just he's one of the lowest maintenance people in the world.
Yes. Well, maybe now higher maintenance because parts of his body are like falling apart from living in such a dangerous environment.
Take care of yourself, Asmongold.
Yeah. But I think that, I mean, he has cut through society so well because he deeply bleeds authenticity.
Yeah, and people desperately want authenticity. That is what the left has realized. Like the men who aren't voting for leftist candidates anymore want is they crave authenticity.
Well, and everyone's like, Asmongold isn't rightist. And I'm like, bro, he like went on like a Trump like election tour basically, right? The right isn't whatever the right used to be anymore, right? Like it's RFK and Trump and Elon and JD Vance. Like none of these people were Republicans, a few decades ago, right? And Asmongold is a rightist simply because, as one of the fans said in a recent video, he's just willing to like get up there and have an actual evidence-based conversation. And that's what the right's become. It's just, it doesn't have to do with your actual beliefs anymore. It's like, are you interested in an evidence-based conversation or do you just want to yell at me? Right. And so you get people with wildly different beliefs. And I think that people who aren't on the right or aren't at rightist events may be surprised how wildly diverse the beliefs are at these sorts of events. Like if you go to like a right-wing conference, which we go to, we speak at them all the time, and you bring up something like universal basic income or, other things that people would think of as like classically socialist, people would be like, yeah, let's have a talk about that. Like, what are the statistics? What are the, like, it's like, you could basically go up there and under another name be like, let's talk about communism and seizing the means of production. And they're like, okay, let's have a conversation about that. Right. Like, does it work? Like, I don't know. If anything, it's an offensive thing to say. So it's even more something that we should look into.
Yeah, because it's more authentic. Yeah.
Because it's more authentic, right? But the reason why I cite Asmongold, and people can be like, well, his numbers aren't that high. It's like 500,000 to 1 million or whatever, right? And I'm like, the reason why Asmongold matters more politically than people with higher numbers than him is that if you look at people who beat him in numbers, they are often using clickbaity titles and clickbaity content, right? Like it is content that is, if you have like a standard right-wing guy, right, and everything he's putting out there is just playing to the right-wing base, he's not saying anything that's meaningful to changing people's beliefs, right? Like people aren't going to him to have their beliefs changed or challenged. And I've always never wanted to become somebody like that, right? Because then, right, like what's the point? What's the point if I'm just confirming people's beliefs? He is of the people who have an audience that is open to genuinely hearing ideas outside of their existing political sort of perspective and world perspective and open to changing their mind on long form intellectual content. He's probably the current king.
Yeah. Also, I have to go.
All
get
right. Love you.
therapy. I love you. Celebrity culture is dead. This was really miss talking. I'm glad to be home. All right. I love you a lot.
I love you too. Bye.
Bye. All right. Texas still chugging along. He's doing all right.
That's wonderful news. Serious complications post-birth. So
yeah, poor thing. He's got his stomach tube, his IV, his cannulas. But
in the recent X-ray, did they find anything new?
They decided not to take one, and I'm kind of glad because he's been getting too many X-rays. They're like, he's doing fine, so let's just not give him more X-rays unless he shows that he's struggling to breathe.
That's really smart. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I think they're making really good decisions. And the next thing that will happen if he is able to take in liquids is and like eat more, take in more food through the stomach tube and some through bottles, they'll take out the IV as early as tomorrow, which would be huge. So, yeah. Oh. By the way, do you know what's going on in Japan? Because it's pretty awesome.
What?
They basically just elected Shinzo Abe 2.0.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Her name is Sanae Takaichi. She's basically she frames herself as the successor to Shinzo Abe. She's all about bringing back Abenomics, Womanomics. She's very aware of demographic collapse, the need to adjust social services in preparation of that. She's like balancing like border security and control with an understanding that there is going to be a need for foreign workers in the face of demographic collapse. But she is definitely like all about beefing up national security. And she is the most right candidate of all of the ones, like, you know, the other guys were like either more centrist or more left. And
that's good. I hope we get more of that. And for people,
she's not also a mainstream feminist at all. Like, as much as she's all for, like, the womanomics element of Shinzo Abe's original thing was like, let's support childcare, let's help women get into the economy. So she's not like women belong in the home. She's obviously like supporting women working, and she wants to bring Japan to Nordic levels of childcare support and parental leave, which is like, that's wonderful, convenient. I don't think it's going to help with birth rates, but I'm like, okay, cool, if you're up for it. But she's also like, yeah, I don't think we need like a female empress. Like, she doesn't support like super progressive views, like changing traditional Japanese institutions just to be more woke. So she just sounds awesome. I'm so excited.
If people haven't seen our Shinzo Abe video, we go deep into Shinzo Abe and his policies. We call him the Harambe of pronatalism, or the Harambe of the new right more broadly. And great guy.
His legacy lives on. The people have spoken. They want Shinzo 2.0 and they got it. So just wanted to give you that happy news in the realm of pronatalism.
All right. Yeah, there's so many topics. I really want to do the one on the AI claiming to murder people. So much we've gotten behind on during your pregnancy.
Not claiming, deciding to murder people.
Deciding. It thought
at, like,
it was
a rate of
murdering
96% if you're Claude
across
and
major
DeepSeek.
models. Which I think is so funny because it shows that Eli Yukowski has no idea what he's talking about, even when things go bad, because it's thinking and acting just like a human.
Yeah.
His whole thing is that we can't predict how it will act.
Yeah, like he just, his whole thing is, it's going to act in completely alien ways that we can never anticipate. It's like, no, it's doing exactly what we would do.
Watch any of our videos on this. If you were going to murder a human, it would murder you first. That's the way we do.
Yeah.
All right. You got to go into the maze. That's where you go in. No, you do not do that, Octavian. That's not funny. Hey, Andy, do you want me to put you in with the balls? Titan, what are you doing? Octavian, knock it off.